how do you describe Web3? And we'll try not to use what we used earlier.
Honestly, I'm often allergic to these kind of like buzzword industry terms that provide big umbrella, but there is a lot of utility in them, right? Like you say Web3, I say Web3. We generally know we're talking about the same thing, and this one in particular has gained a lot of ground. I think as people have tried to rebrand the technology away from crypto, because crypto carries with it a lot of negative implications, right? For a lot of people, crypto is the thing you use to buy drugs on the internet. Like that's kind of their the mental space they go to, and you have to back them out of that. So I think Web3 as a term um, is an attempt at a gentle rebrand that gets people excited. I do also think there's some interesting demarcations that get packed into that, right? Which is a look back at the Web one, which was largely read only, to Web two, which was kind of creator driven. Web three becomes creator owned in theory. That narrative is like very popular. I will say that I don't think that is yet true in practice in a widespread way. Like we've seen some amazing teams do some really successful things, like the Yoga Labs folks is kind of amazing what they've built. Um, but even the like royalties argument that's happening right now on a lot of the NFT marketplace platforms would suggest that it is not quite entirely self ownership and profit from your work in the universe of Web3 yet. So I think there's some truth there, but it's not entirely yet accurate. Maybe it will in the future. Um, but I do think that the core of it for me actually comes down to this idea of something we touched on earlier, which is all about controlling your identity as you exist across a series of applications. Because the thing that's actually changed over the 20 plus years I've been in tech is, I'm Ian Andrews in the real world. I have a passport, a driver's license, and a bank account. Online, I don't have a bunch of personas, but many people do, where they exist in the world of video games in one way, and they exist on TikTok in another way, and Instagram or OnlyFans or whatever it is. All of these are just as legitimate as my passport, driver's license, documented identity. Um, and I think that the implication of that legitimizing of these online personas or identities as distinct is really what's interesting and happening in Web3 that I think people who aren't into the financial aspects of crypto should be getting excited about. And I think if you look at things like Developer DAO or Friends with Benefits, which are probably the two most successful kind of communities that have really nothing to do with crypto as a financial instrument, um, are very interesting in this regard. It's almost like taking the professional and trade association organizations and launching them into a kind of modern digital landscape. Um, and so, to me, that's the biggest change that's really happening, driven by Web3, particularly if we're talking above the core kind of underlying technology area.
I love that. God, that's one of the best answers I've gotten. I have to say, seriously, it's like it's very well articulated. I think a lot of people try to say that, but they can't quite articulate it that way. So thanks for sharing that.